Hi everyone, it's Butterfly, and welcome to day number 29 of Heather Carter's 31 Days of Witchcraft Challenge. And today's question is, how do you feel about death? How has this been impacted by your personal practice, or how has it impacted it? Um, I respect death. Um, I believe that death is powerful and necessary, and that it can be beautiful and terrible and frightening and fascinating and sad and liberating. So many things all at the same time. And it's a part of life. I don't like that for a lot of people it's treated as sort of a dirty subject, like something that we shouldn't talk about or think about. I don't think that's healthy for us as human beings. And I feel like at this time in history, we have been more removed and sort of cut ourselves off from the reality of death. And I think that makes it more frightening for us. And I have a fear of death for myself, for my loved ones, like anybody, or like most people probably. But I can recognize um, the need to not repress it as a subject, and to be as positive about it as we can. Um, I don't know if I really incorporated much into my personal spiritual practice about death specifically. Um, I know, well, your practice is the things that you do, right? And I used to be more active in exploring life after death. And that was really interesting to me. I used to drive a hearse as my regular everyday car that my second husband bought for me as a birthday gift. Um, it was a beautiful long black hearse, and I learned a lot about people's attitudes toward death while I was driving that around. I saw that a lot of people were frightened of it, that I wasn't expecting, um, because it's associated with death. And then I would also be approached by people who are just interested in the subject of death and funerals and hearses and things like that. And they like to talk about it. And sometimes that would draw people to me to have a chat. And that was interesting too. Um, but also, gosh, just trying to get service for that vehicle because it's associated with death. There were some people who refused to work on my car. Um, and that let me know more about what's going on in people's minds and when it comes to death. And I used to do a lot of EVP recordings with my second husband, and that really informed some of my beliefs about life after death because a lot of times we would use a little digital recorder like you could get in office supply shops or your average electronics shop. And you could just download the digital recording into your computer and use an audio program or something to make things louder and turn it up on your computer, and you'll hear people answering you and speaking to you. Um, and we got those recordings in our own house and in cemeteries and things like that. And it was clear that there were people answering us. Not that we were just picking up random radio signals or like something playing in the distance, because they were answering us. And also, I got a theory that even people who have passed on, that they're not all in the same place, because sometimes I would hear a conversation maybe between two dead people and at the same time another person will be talking to us, and from what they were saying, these people and this person didn't seem to be aware of each other, almost as if they're on different planes of existence. But the recorder picked up all of them, and this one was talking to us. And so I learned things like that from those experiences. And I'm working on being more death positive. And there are two wise women whose content I really like to imbibe. And one of them is Caitlin Dowdy, and she's on here on YouTube as Ask a Mortician. And I always learn something from her videos. They're really interesting. And also there's a woman who works with her a lot, who is a death doula. And before I saw her on Ask a Mortician, I didn't even know that death doulas exist. But they help the family during the death process. And there's one that works with her named Alua. I follow her on Instagram, and I love the kinds of things that she posts. A lot of really thought-provoking things and little gems of wisdom and things like that. And something that I'm trying to learn with regard to death that I think is so important is, because grief is such a big thing, of course, associated with death, to be better at holding space and being there for someone who is bereaved. I don't think we're all taught that, especially if you don't grow up comfortable with talking about death at all. When someone finally passes away and someone is hurting, you may not know what to do, how to be there for them. And so that's something I'm trying to kind of learn to do better. Like when a cousin of mine passed away not that long ago, I wanted to be there for my auntie well, she's going through this terrible time, but there was a habit in me to just think, what can I say to make her feel better? What can I say? I'm learning sometimes it's better to not find something to say, but to ask how they're doing, and to just listen and let them know that you're there for them, and to be more receptive in that process and just hold space for them. I think a huge lesson of death is it teaches us that time is precious and that time is not guaranteed. For example, my cousin, I thought I was going to have lots of time and I was going to go visit him and have plenty of time to get to know him and share our lives. But that didn't happen because he was taken too soon, and those things do happen. So it's important to remember that the time we have now is so precious. And those are mostly my thoughts and feelings around death. And I don't think it's had a huge effect on my personal practice, except that I know as I am working with the realm of spirit, that I know there are spirits around me. Like, I know. Even if I don't hear them at the time. And I have heard spirits with my physical ears as well as, with the help of simple electronics. I know they're around, and that opens up a lot more possibilities for me of what is out there. And that's about it for that one. Thanks if you stuck through this one with me. I know it's such a big subject that I'm kind of all over the place. But I'll be really interested in hearing your thoughts and feelings on this subject. I know it's a big one. And hope to see you in the next one. Bye.